Starting off first with how US President Donald Trump has accused China of violating the preliminary trade agreement reached earlier this month, shaking global investor confidence and sparking fresh concerns about the stability of the US-China economic relations. In a fiery post on Truth Social, Donald Trump declared, I'm quoting here, China, perhaps not surprisingly to some, has totally violated its agreement with us. So much for being Mr. Nice Guy, quote unquote. In fact, the claim comes just 2 weeks after both sides agreed to a 90-day pause on mutual tariffs, offering temporary relief to markets. That agreement was hailed as a breakthrough in easing the escalating trade tensions that had resulted in steep tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars in imports. In fact, the White House now alleges that China has failed to uphold its end of the agreement, reigniting fears of a renewed trade war. While no specific violations were detailed, officials say the US fulfilled its commitments and that China's compliance has slowed significantly since the truce has been announced. Markets responded swiftly, with US futures going down, signaling investor unease over the possibility of the renewed tariff hikes or the worsening trade relations. And analysts say the latest development could impact everything from consumer prices to supply chains, particularly if the tariff talks collapse. In fact, the talks between the two sides appear to have stalled, and with officials suggesting further progress may require direct engagement between the presidents of both countries. The Biden-era concerns over China's state-led economic practices remain unresolved and continue to be a sticking point in the negotiations. The 90-day pause, in fact, had brought temporary relief to markets, but with US officials now signaling that China has not followed through, the future of the agreement appears to be uncertain. If the situation escalates, the global economy could once again face ripple effects from the trade instability between the world's two largest economies. And our correspondent Susan Teherani has been tracking those developments very closely. She sent us this report from New York. Take a look.
President Trump says that it was his tariffs that brought China to the brink of economic collapse just 2 weeks ago, cutting them off from the U.S. market, triggering factory shutdowns and even unrest. He claims that the situation became so dire that he decided to step in, not for America's sake, but to prevent China from imploding. Trump made a fast deal with China to stabilize their economy and restore order. And it did work briefly. But now he's accusing China of completely violating that agreement. He calls it a betrayal and says that his goodwill was taken for granted. Now it's yet to be seen whether or not another so-called trade war will erupt between these two countries. Susan Teherani reporting from New York for WION World this morning.